so the main drummer, the other drummer in the Grateful Brothers is basically Butch. He's the one who leads. Butch was the one who drove that band.
Hmm.
I think Jaimoe only played. I could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he only played drums. I think it was only Jaimoe playing drums, leading on drums in studio on one song, and that was "Stand Back." I want to say he did a great job in Sea Level, of course, and a bunch of other bands. But in the Allman Brothers, Jaimoe was the secondary sort of complimentary guy who would apply flourishes and fill space that Butch left, while Butch was the one who was steering them through all the transitions and such. Well, when I joined the Grateful Brothers, I joined a drummer who was basically, and who still is basically, Butch. And so, as a drummer by nature, you just you feel like you have to drive everything. And so when you get in a, I hope I'm making sense here, but
No, this totally makes sense.
when you join a band and there's another guy doing that, you don't want to step on his toes musically, and you want to do something cool, and but that involves doing less, which is just not in your nature, because as a drummer you're wanting to fill space and to be that rock, you know. And so that's when I started. It's like, okay, it's kind of hard to really study the Allman Brothers drummers because there are not that many videos out there of them back in their heyday. Well, so that is really what turned me on to the Tedeschi Trucks drummers, because there's tons of stuff you can pull up and watch those guys. And so, um, and back then it was not Isaac, of course. It was Falcon and JJ, and JJ was the one who was driving most of the songs, and Falcon was the more complimentary guy. And so
Now
I
it's
just
now
now it's
Falcon.
the
That's what.
opposite.
Right,
And
Falcon's
and
driving now.
and I swear, like, I don't know if people truly appreciate what Falcon has done, um, because he's become a totally different drummer. In Tedeschi Trucks band, because before he's laying back a lot and just finding little spots, little percussive elements that he would bring, and then only in the chaotic and super intense moments was he really laying on it, right, like, to where it's just this freight train. And now he's the guy, um, and he's driving it, I think, more than JJ was. Um, and Isaac is the Jaimoe type, so that's fascinating. But I just have enormous respect for Falcon. I feel like I learn more from him each time I watch him, with how he is sort of putting his stamp on these songs. And man, to go through that catalog of music and all the different changes and nuances, and then to say nothing of the jams where you're having to keep everything together, and you're having to lock in on Derek to see when he's ready to make a transition or in the song or whatever. That is hard, and Falcon is just flawless. So it's been so cool. Like, when I heard JJ left the band, I was really bummed. And then when I saw they were touring, I guess the Fireside tour with just Falcon, I'm like, oh man, it's just not going to be the same. And I was like, I don't even know if I want to go watch them. But then I start watching them on various videos, and I'm like, holy smokes, this Falcon is becoming a machine, and he always has been a machine. I mean, he dating back to his days with Colonel Bruce. I mean, he's always been amazing. But just in the context of this band, it just brought forth a whole new presence, uh, from behind the kit from him. And I really, it as I'm studying them, it's really helpful and instructive, for me. And sort of, okay, how would I like to maybe borrow some things in my supplementing of the main drummer for the band that I'm in.
Yeah, I appreciate just hearing all that, especially from a drummer's perspective, because I can't say I often get that, and again, for me as like the guitar player, I don't notice all of the nuances and maybe totally appreciate as much as I should the whole history of what's going on musically behind the drummers. But of course, I and all TTB fans appreciate and love Falcon, JJ, and Isaac and what they do, and so much of it is super memorable. And Pasaquan has become just an epic beast that they've just put their signature on Isaac and Falcon. It's just I hope if they hear this that they appreciate what you're saying. Again, this is like what I'm doing this for, is just to get those like, very specific reasons and why we love TTB, and just give, fans like yourself the opportunity to just express like how much they love the band and why. And I'm here to listen. Like I feel like I don't even have to have like questions for you. We're just gonna talk TTB and just,